Great. So thanks for attending episode 1, QuickBooks of Ask a Pro with ProSource. We're going to walk through the attendee introductions first and let them tell you a little bit about themselves. So first up, we have Beverly Lang from Fishbowl.
Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us today to hear a little bit more about QuickBooks, how we use QuickBooks, and how we host QuickBooks. I'm Beverly Lang. I am the Senior Director of Integrated Services with Fishbowl. Fishbowl is an inventory software that is a great companion to QuickBooks. It adds more a robust system on top of QuickBooks, but we're also QuickBooks solution providers that have been around the QuickBooks industry for the past 25 years, and we look forward to sharing a little bit of information with you today. Dalia?
Thank you, Beverly. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Dalia Cantor, owner of CPA Solutions. And we are a CPA firm providing accounting, consulting, and tax services to multiple business clients and individuals as well. We've been working with ProSource Technology Solutions for 15 years. So they've been not just our IT provider, but also a really trusted business partner. And I'm going to talk today about how hosted services really help us be efficient with our clients, save time, and also provide easy access and live information for us to make decisions. Lee, I'll turn it over to you.
Great. Thank you, Dalia. Good afternoon, everybody. I appreciate you joining this webinar. I'm excited to talk to you a little bit today about the services that my company offers. My name's Leon Hart. I'm the owner and CEO of ProSource Cloud Services. We are a multi-service IT business that offers managed IT and cloud solutions, and we have decades of experience that spans very specific industries, namely financial services, engineering, and healthcare. So I'm excited to talk to you a little bit today about how QuickBooks fits into the kind of services we provide our clients, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have about hosting and how it can improve your experience using QuickBooks. So Matt, back to you.
Great, thanks. So our first speaker is going to be Beverly, and she's going to cover some of the popular topics in the new version of QuickBooks.
So QuickBooks 2021 came out in September of last year, so we'll be getting a new software system in the next few months, but I just wanted to highlight some of the new and improved features that came out in 2021. So one of the first ones was automated statements. So you can use payment reminders to schedule your statements for your customers and let them know if they still have invoices that are past due, or you can remind them ahead of time if your customer needs that simple nudge. So this has been a great feature for me to use in my practice, so I don't have to monitor my AR. Intuit does it for me. It allows me to go in and say that if the invoice is still open and it's 5 days to its due date, I want to send a general reminder. I want to send a reminder 3 days after the due date to let them know that it's now past due. So it increases the ability for me to get paid without me having to work with AR. Another great feature that came out in 2021 was the data level permissions. Now, we've always had the ability to create custom user roles, but we got a little more detailed with it in 2021. So this allows the admin to create users and roles with access permissions and at the record level for both customers and vendors. So now we can pick and choose which customers an employee can see, which vendors an employee can see. And so when you're working with your sales reps and they have different territories, this is great for your salespeople because you can only allow them to see the customers or the vendors that they are working with on a day-to-day basis without giving them access to another employee's customer or vendor records. So Matt, if you'll change to the next slide for me. So then let's talk about customer groups. So a lot of people really like the ability to be able to create customer groups. So this helps with marketing and the ability to be able to see what kind of customers you're selling to. So you can group them in like statuses so that you can send automated statements, automated payment reminders. If you have customers that get billed at the 1st of the month versus customers that get billed at the 15th of the month, or even at the end of the month, you can set up reminders based on those customer groups. I personally love it for the mailing capability. So With the mailing list, we can use those customer groups to target those customers and give them either a special price or a special service that we're going to offer for just that group. In QuickBooks Enterprise, you can use these customer groups to define permissions and again, only give access to a specific customer or vendor group level. And then lastly, let's talk about some of the improved bank feeds. Bank feeds have been around for a while, but we improved our ability to connect with banks, and the advanced online banking is a new way for you to be able to review the bank transactions and match them to the existing transactions already in your QuickBooks. And it gives you the ability to download the statement directly from within your QuickBooks on, QuickBooks Desktop or QuickBooks Online. You can grab your statement without having to go to your online bank account to get that information. So these are all some great new tips and tricks that you can use with the new features that came out in 2021. So Dalia, if you'd like to take it from here and talk to them about how you use QuickBooks, that would be great.
Sure. Thank you, Beverly. And the improved bank feeds is what we absolutely love as accountants. So that helps us a lot as well. So why CPA firms prefer QuickBooks Hosting? So first of all, it's really easy access for accountant and the client at the same time. We can both be in QuickBooks file as a different user, and obviously giving us live financial data for decision-making, tax planning purposes. As a CPAs, our role has changed over the years. We're not just being counters, we act as business partners and advisors, and we really need the fluid financial information and able to help our clients with some of the solutions and strategic planning as well. Excuse me. Big time savings because there's no backups or accounts copies that need to be saved and shared between different users. So we did a little bit of a math. And so, for example, we will have a client that by the time they download QuickBooks file, backup file, sends it to us, and by the time we restore the file, get the information ready, that's probably about between an hour and 1.5 hours a month. So if we have 50 clients, that's 50 hours a month. That's more than a week worth of work. So it's been a great time saver for both. And there's no extra steps to be done. Everything is live. Everything is accessible immediately. We also like that authorized host handle all software updates, so we don't have to worry about when is the new update, do we have to shut down our service to install the update. Everything is seamless and it happens in the background, and we don't have to worry about time spent on these such activities. And the other thing that we really enjoy with QuickBooks Hosting is that QuickBooks Online, which is a platform that is used by many businesses, but us as CPAs, and I think other accounting firms will agree with me, QuickBooks Desktop offers a lot more functionality than QuickBooks Online, and clients find that as well. So with QuickBooks Hosting, you get the same experience, but with a better platform software and a better functionality. And 95% of our clients use QuickBooks, so this has really been a really, really great experience for us. And again, time savings and be able to have data right then and there, and it's current and up to date. So thank you, Matt. That will be it for me.
Great. Okay, Lee.
Thanks, Matt. I'm going to grab control here real quick if I can. All right. So thank you, Dalia, for the segue into hosting. So hosting is why host QuickBooks? You know, Dalia touched on a lot of good reasons for, you know, her particular business to have it. But, you know, simply put, it does facilitate multi-user and vendor collaboration in a secure workspace. In short, it's really an enabler for your business. It creates simple coordination between what's more than likely separated users and vendors. You know, in the case of Dalia and in the case of distributed workforces nowadays, it's much easier to have things in a centralized place where everyone can access them uniformly, share it, no transfer of files, etc. So both customers and vendors can access QuickBooks Desktop from a web browser, or potentially a small client for a few feature enhancements, and secure access really from any device. So you can even access it from tablets or from from phones or Chromebooks, etc. It's a nice flexible way. And as Dalia pointed out, it offers eliminates the backups and file transitions across organizations, which really locks the file that a company may transfer to an accounting or CPA firm, and prevents a lot of flexibility. When you're working with accountants' copies, it's harder for you to make certain kinds of changes until you get that copy back and reintegrate it in the file. So it eliminates the need for that, and certainly is a time saver for accounting firms. For accounting firms in particular, it does provide dramatic service efficiencies by having it centralized. So there's no worries of having to go retrieve files from customers or having to log into customer systems to do that. It offers really kind of a centralized, standard, secure platform for doing that. And in particular, it also has the potential to create a service offering for accounting firms by reducing headaches to their customers, eliminating licensing, management of separate platforms, et cetera, for QuickBooks Hosting in particular. The infrastructure for QuickBooks Hosting is purpose-built for handling the unique complexities of QuickBooks Desktop. QuickBooks Desktop environments are tuned and optimized for the unique operating requirements of the QuickBooks product. These are not just simple desktops that are just thrown in a cloud environment, but they're really highly secure servers that are purpose-built for this. And a lot of customer systems are just not designed that way, and they don't offer the same secure access uniformly for folks that need to share those particularly sensitive pieces of information for a customer. Some partners may offer expansion of the platform to a flexible virtual desktop. This can create unique enablement opportunities for a remote workforce offering, and the ability to host other applications with the same kind of convenient access. So you could really consider this an investment to solve other convenience or collaboration challenges. So if you think beyond just QuickBooks, there are good hosting providers out there that also offer you to be able to host other line of business products that may also be able to be used with your QuickBooks hosting platform. So it really kind of opens up the door to a lot of other flexible business options. What about safety? Hosting really should only be handled by an Intuit authorized hosting provider. That's really, really important. There are, hundreds, if not thousands, of hosting companies out there. There are hosting companies that will certainly host QuickBooks for you or can host QuickBooks for you. You have to be really careful. Many companies will host it, but they do it illegally. And there are terms of use in the software that really prevent hosting from non-registered providers. And eventually they will be shut down. It's not to say that it still doesn't happen. Intuit is aware of it. We're aware of it. There's a lot of companies that can do it, but you have to be really careful from a safety standpoint. There's a lot of strict compliance guidelines for any host for hosting any Intuit product, and only partners in the program meet this requirement. And authorized hosts have those purpose-built environments for securing and protecting customer data. Things like encryption, intrusion prevention, a lot of these safety measures that you're accustomed to hearing, the buzzwords in the industry, especially in light of all of these ransomware things that people have heard about in the news. It's really important that you have a safe, secure platform that's authorized, vetted, and hosted in secure data centers that have industry compliant security practices in place. This also provides assurance for upstream support. Anyone who's ever had a deep QuickBooks problem, and Beverly can attest to this, and Dalia as pro advisor as well can attest to this, it's really hard to get support if you're running a system that's not supported. We see it a lot. We've had to rescue clients that have actually moved from other hosting platforms because they're not part of a program. Intuit will not support them. They can't get upstream support from an authorized QSP like Fishbowl or a pro advisor like Dalia, CPA firms, because they're not hosted on a platform that's actually authorized and supported by Intuit. And that's really important for a product that can be fairly expensive. You want to make sure it's really hosting really business sensitive information. You want to make sure that you have a platform that can actually be supported end to end for the money that's paid for licensing and hosting. So it's really, really important to have the right safety measures in place. And that's what authorized hosting can provide for you. So hopefully you can see the flexibility that it offers and some of the safety concerns that it might address. So Matt, I'll turn it back over to you.
Great. Thanks, Lee. So that wraps up the presentation for our three speakers today. We do have one question. I know Beverly had touched on it quickly. I'll probably shoot this over to Lee. Lee, in terms of versions of QuickBooks that can be hosted, I know there are some limitations. Do you want to cover that in terms of, I know there's some limitations on how far you can go back, but do you want to take that one?
Sure. Are you talking about the John question that was asked?
Yeah. What versions of QuickBooks can you host?
I see. So John asked a question. All versions of QuickBooks can be hosted. What version are you currently using that you need hosted? So the current support model for Intuit is really current -2. And current being 21. So that means 21, 20, and 19 are really what's supported. So anyone that's running 2018 QuickBooks really needs to be moved to a newer supported year. You can't typically buy, last year's version when the new year is out. So if you do upgrade from say 18, you are upgrading to 21. But we rely on a lot of QSPs like Beverly to help us get very specific year products if that's something that's required. But that is how the support structure works. Any version of QuickBooks can be hosted, Pro, Premier, Enterprise, all the accountant editions, all of those are supported on a hosting platform that's part of the authorized hosting program. But it is very important that you run a supported version of QuickBooks because that is part of the requirements for hosting is you only host supported versions of QuickBooks.
Yeah, and just to piggyback on kind of what you said in your presentation, Lee, it is imperative that you are in a supported product, which means 3 years or less. So 19, 20, or 21. When 22 comes out in just a couple of months, Intuit will give you leeway until May of the next year to get upgraded if you're in 19. But more importantly, you need to ensure that you're with an authorized hosted provider. If you are not, Intuit will not support you. They will require that you bring it down out of the cloud, or they will not support you at all. So you really have to pick and choose and make sure that your hosting provider has met the all of the requirements that Intuit has put in place to protect you. So Intuit makes sure that the hosting provider is meeting the security requirements, that they know how to handle the software. So Intuit is trying to protect you, so make sure you're using an authorized hosting provider.
Okay, great. Thank you, Beverly and Lee. I think that was the only question in the chat. So I'll move to the last slide, which is the contact information. If you heard anything that interested you, feel free to email any of the participants directly. Their contact information is here. I will leave it up here for a couple minutes, and it seems like there are no other questions in the chat. Thank you, Beverly, Lee, and Dalia, for taking a couple minutes today to cover some of your experiences in the space. And thank you to all the attendees for being participants in our first episode of Ask a Pro. We hope to make this a monthly series going forward, spotlighting different challenges. If you have any ideas, feel free to email Lee. His email contact is on here, or you can reach out to me directly as I'm the one kind of putting these together. So any parting words from any of the presenters?
No, just
thanks for the opportunity, Matt. I appreciate this. This is great, especially being on a panel of experts. This is wonderful.
Yeah, I just wanted to say the same thing. Thanks for taking the time to join us today. If you have questions about hosting, please reach out to Lee. If you have questions about how to use QuickBooks, or if you need support with QuickBooks on setup, implementation, training, or even your accounting, reach out to Dalia or myself, and either of us will be happy to help you.
Great. Thanks, everybody. Have a great Wednesday, and we'll speak to you in the next one, hopefully.
All right.
Have a great.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye. All right. Bye.
Take care.